bots for the win.
Coming up on today's edition of the Bots for the Win podcast, we're talking how to run contests on Messenger with Manychat Part 2, 2.0. So I'll go an update of sorts with some frequency and context in there. We're going to talk about bugs and what to do, and I'm going to finish it off with some newly learned tradecraft. Now, you can call it a contest, a giveaway, a draw, or a sweepstakes. I see people refer to them all in all those fashions. It sort of seems like when you do agree upon the nomenclature here, but it does not matter what you call it. I love them. Just an absolutely fantastic ROI on an individual marketing strategy and tactics. I've already recorded an episode on running them, in which I lovingly refer to them as
I've got a golden ticket.
As the golden ticket, right? Because they're that good. It is that impressive of a technique. It is one of the highest ROI marketing techniques of 2018. The question is, do I still feel that way? And in all honesty, I do have to say no. I don't exactly feel the same. In reality, they're actually even better. They're even better. They've improved. It's just too hard to even believe to say that. But they have. They've just gotten even better. So now that I've got a few more in the can since that last one, I've leveled up my game quite a bit, sorted some new tactics and techniques, and felt a 2.0 version was called for. So if you've not listened to the first one, you might want to stop this, go back and listen to the first one so you can get up to speed, although I do think this will be a good just standalone episode if you just want to listen. So let's start at the top, and I want to talk a bit about frequency and context, and strategy for that matter. So frequency, context, and strategy. The rub with these guys is, and you know, I'd love to just get around with this, but the rub with them is they are a pain in the. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about whether or not they're a pain in the. They just are. They require a robust amount of work. They just do, especially when you do them correctly. So the question of frequency comes up. How often do you run them? And yes, of course, it's going to depend on the nature of your business. For some, it might be daily, weekly, monthly. I could see scenarios where any and all of those would work. Some have huge messenger lists. Most don't. So there's all sorts of individual nuanced things to your business. But in my practice, I've sort of arrived at the once per quarter clip. So I run one of these a quarter. That is what sort of feels right for me, regardless of the business that I'm working on. Because there's so much energy and effort and planning and executing and the costs that are associated with it, it's hard to even want to think about doing them in any clip more than quarterly. So that's sort of what's felt good to me. I also think, you know, you're training people as you run 4 of these a year, that they're not coming up all the time. But when they do come up, they're super fun. They're going to be awesome, and then you're not going to see one for another couple months. And so it kind of keeps them fresh, keeps them interesting, keeps them as something that your current list is probably going to want to engage in. So that's sort of how I feel about them. So, you know, I think for context, the way I like to think about running contests is that they're a nice little addition to bolt on to your current marketing activities, to add to your marketing stack. They're not the be-all, end-all by any means. So it's just another club that I have in my bag to effectively market and hawk whatever I'm trying to sell. Now, not to be Captain Obvious here, but as is the case with all customer acquisition strategies, the marketers that are going to win are the ones that have a strategy after the acquisition, after the contest is over, to have a plan in place to regularly communicate with these newly acquired leads. And I think, you know, it's so important if you were going to go through the time and energy and all the efforts of this aforementioned pain in the. I just got that sense of beef. I'm pretty excited about it. If you're going to go through all that effort, you really have to have a strategy after it's over to properly nurture these newly acquired leads, which means especially on Messenger. So I think that's an important thing to think through ahead of time. And sticking to strategy and building on the communication piece we just covered, it can be incredibly effective if you run these contests ahead of major product launches, huge sales, special anythings. You run them, you charge up a whole bunch of folks, and then you dump them all charged up right into a big promotion or whatever you're having is a great way to squeeze some additional ROI out of the efforts. And let me give you an analogy. I think this is a good way to think about it. I really rather like this analogy. An effectively run contest can be like a giant party. let's just say you own a huge nightclub, right? And you're throwing a rager and it's pumping in there and it's just going off. At the end of it, let's just say it's 2 a.m. The doors are going to close, everybody's out, and a bunch of drunks are going to spill out onto the parking lot. So if you own that bar and the corresponding parking lot, a good idea would be if you had a Del Taco. No, that's too corporate. A good idea would be to have a Santana's Mexican restaurant in the parking lot that is open late and serving just absolutely filthy California burritos. For the uninitiated, it's like a kitchen sink type of a carne asada burrito with french fries in it. It's delicious. But you're going to be serving those things all night long, and you're going to sell a ton of these burritos to the drunks. Years past, I've found the Santana's California burrito, extremely effective late night booze mop. Although I've not had one in years, I need to rectify that. So a good way to think strategically is how to plan out your contest. The contest is the party, so have some burritos to sell to the drunks right afterwards, and you're going to get more ROI out of all of these efforts. So an important thing to think through that I'm finding ahead of running these. And so do your planning, get that sorted. Next, I want to address the overall bugginess of the comment growth tool. Now, this is an oft complained about feature in the Manychat Facebook group. There has been a whole bunch of problems with it, over the last year or whatever. Now, I've run enough of these that I've made and or seen just about every mistake imaginable and forced to be called audibles every single solitary time mid-contest to get the train back on the track. So hopefully I can impart some wisdom and you can learn from my mistakes. Some of these mistakes are user error, and some are on the Facebook Messenger / Manychat bugs. Now, mistake number one, this one's never happened to me, is that the growth tool is not firing at all. But I see a ton of people complaining about this, and this one is inexcusable, and it's on you if it happens. You schedule the post. When the post is in draft mode, it is not published, it is scheduled, the growth tool will fire. So if you are a page admin for the Facebook page, you can see it and leave a comment on it. If Manychat is set up correctly, it's going to fire. So before this thing ever goes live, you can test it and make sure that it's working. It's incumbent upon you to do this. And so you make sure to do this every time. On all of the ones that I've run, I've had a minimum of 2 page admins that can leave comments to double check this is the case. And it's like, what's the Navy SEAL mantra? 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Something can always fail. So make sure you have at least 2 page admins that can leave a comment. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, once they leave the initial comment, then they get put into what I like to call purgatory, or the waiting room, which is that step where they have to comment whatever inside of Manychat to be put into the actual contest flow. And this is just how this Manychat growth tool is set up. Now, this one has happened to me multiple times. Many others have covered the fix. The key is that you have to have a keyword set up in your automation to trigger your contest flow. Hey, Patrick, to enter the contest, type win. In my experience, pretty much everybody will actually type win, although some do get exuberant and type win, win, win with some sort of emoji. So those situations come up. So when you're setting the growth tool up, it just makes sense ahead of time to set the keyword in the automation with some variants of win or whatever your keyword is to fire in your contest flow. Launch the contest, keep an eye early on. You're looking at everybody's paths that are coming in. Are they getting the contest flow? If they're not, turn the keyword on. Easy enough. I've done this 3 times now, and contest went off without a hitch, aside from those first few people that didn't get in. Easy enough. It's done. It works just fine. So that can help things out. Mistake number 3, done this one too. It sucks. Editing the growth tool mid-contest. Rule number 1, don't do that. Rule number 2, don't do that. Rule number 3, if you want to make repairs or upgrade your boat, then do it at the docks. Once you have set sail, you're on the water, crack a beer, enjoy yourself, and take notes on what you want to do for next time. Now, this might change. Mistake number 3 here, this might change in the future if they stabilize things. Some are saying it's on Manychat. Some are saying it's on Facebook. Manychat says it's on Facebook. So this might normalize and they might get this all fixed up, right? But in the meantime, my strong recommendation, do not touch the growth tool once the contest is on. Just don't do it. Twice I've learned the hard way on that one. Now, tip number 1, we're off mistakes, we're on to tips. This is just more of a tip here. So make sure to apply a tag to everybody that enters the contest, regardless of what growth tool you're using to route them in. And you want to be able to isolate everybody that's actually entered the contest versus, say, everybody else that's on your Messenger subscriber list and your subscribers that are coming in. I've had multiple times where things have broken on me, and mid contest, I've offered a broadcast and sent it out and said, hey guys, huge apologies. So many people entered the contest. It actually broke my bot. So if you missed the contest details, click here to see it. Easy enough. Because I had everything tagged, I had my comment growth tool tagged, I had my JSON ads tagged, I had my Instagram links tagged. So I knew every single solitary person that entered the contest. And so I was able to message them in isolation in the middle of the contest and save my bacon. So that's an important tip. Tip number one. Tip number two, don't be my mother, okay? Don't be my mother, all right? What does my mother do when she has a tech issue? Does she attempt to help herself? No, she doesn't. She calls me. My such and such is broken. I love my mother very much, but don't do that. No. If you're in a contest prep or mid-contest and something is going sideways on you, go to the Manychat Facebook group, use the search feature, and see if others are having a problem. If others are, it's likely platform-wide. That's trouble. If not, though, you know instantaneously it's on you. So you got to leak, and that's something you got to fix. So that's a quick way when you're in prep or when you're mid-contest, things go sideways. That's something to just look out for. That's the first thing I do. I go to the Facebook group. I see if anything weird is going on. So now that is sorted, that we've covered the mistakes, what you can do to mitigate them, and tip number 1 and 2, we can get back to the tradecraft. So let's talk tradecraft. What's evolved for me when I run the contest on Facebook, and what I will cover all pretty much builds on everything I covered in the original episode. So not going to rehash any of that. All of which will follow really just builds on it. All of it is, it's rather modular too when I think about it. A properly run and executed contest on Facebook and Instagram can really be broken down quite nicely into its corresponding parts. And I'm a huge fan of the rule of threes rather. So I have 3 level ups for you. Number 1, let's talk about 2 of those parts: comments and conversation. Comments and conversation. So you have the comments that go down on the post itself. You have the conversation that takes place in the bot. Comments and conversation. Now, originally, I have stressed the importance of the conversation in the bot, and I still do. I think it's a very good idea in my experience to be responsive in there, answer the questions, engage with your audience, build your know, like, and trust, make yourself generally available to the best of your abilities. I think the conversations are key to messenger marketing. That's why we're in this business. So invest the time and have some. Almost always, in my experience, the ROI is always there. What you learn, what you take away, you build relationships, you build know, like, and trust. So you have to set aside some time, to have these conversations. Very, very important. What I want to talk about, though, and yes, this involves, sadly, even more work, are the comments. And, as I mentioned in the previous episode, the engagement on the Facebook post, especially very early on, you could call it the first 20 hours, but really it's like the first 1 to 5 hours, let's say. Facebook has one of the most advanced algos in the world, or probably you'd have to say many of the most advanced algorithms in the world. And this baby craves engagement. It craves people having a good time on Facebook, on spending more time on Facebook, on not leaving the platform. So knowing that, we can put this baby to work for our contest. Your job is to make Facebook think you just dropped an engagement announcement or the birth of your first child. Those posts tend to be seen by everybody organically and oftentimes for days, right? You notice how you log back in after a couple of days and you're like, oh, I just saw that. I've seen it again. They are always massively charged up with engagement. So that is our goal. So yes, this starts with responding to the corresponding comments on the post. Again, especially early on, also on Instagram too, for that matter. And I'm not talking about a few either. I went back and looked at my last contest, and I think we responded over 250 times during the 7 days of this last one. Now, what's new here is how I go about deliberately combining the comments and conversation on the post itself. And it's a clever little hack that pours gas all over the fire you started with your contest. And allow me to illustrate. And I'm going to use the last one I ran was my artist buddy again, did another one. So in his case, he gets a bunch of people leaving comments. And what we did last time is a bunch of people, you throw an emoji, you said thanks. You said, thanks so much for entering. Oh, that's great. Good to see you, Steve. What we did this time is we kept the conversations going on the post. And so let's say before, Steve left a comment, hey, Matthew, hello from New York, love your work. And he would have just responded last time with a thumbs up or thanks so much, good luck. This time, Hey, Steve, you're from New York. That's awesome. What part? Steve would come back. Steve would say, oh, I'm from Albany area. He'd be like, oh, that's amazing. I've been to Albany. Great town. What part of it do you live in? Steve would come back. I live in such and such part. Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. You're so close to Niagara Falls up there. You strategically and deliberately ask open-ended questions in the comments early on, especially early on, most importantly. But you ask these questions early on, and what happens is where you would have just had one comment before, now you've got like 7 to 10. And you don't do it for every single solitary one, but your goal is to get some of these open-ended questions that you ask on the Facebook post to go into 6 and 7 and 8 and 10 comment chains, right? This is amazing. It's amazing because it just charges it up even more. And all you have to do is ask some simple questions and actually have some conversations in the comments. And, I mentioned on the last time I did the podcast on the contest, I can't completely prove this yet, but I've noticed multiple times that the increased engagement has lowered my ad cost, not for the contest ad because I couldn't prove that, but lowered my ad costs across the board. The next time I do this, I'm going to definitely get like a firmer grip of what I'm paying for everything and then really look at the numbers and what's changing so many things in the ads I managed. But I'm seeing that this increased engagement is having this funny effect of lowering my acquisition costs and my ad costs across my account. So it's hugely beneficial if you're running Facebook ads to run these contests. It's just another reason why they're so amazing. So you don't have to do this technique, by the way, combining the comments and the conversation. You don't have to do it all contest long. Just invest the time you can up front and charge that baby up. The first 24 hours are important, yes, but I really think it's like the first couple of hours that make the difference. If that thing sets fire right out of the gates, which if you follow my tactics in episode 1, there's lots of ways to do that. You add this on, you bolt this on, and it is on. It works incredibly well. So that is comments and conversation. Now, time for number 2. Let's get to the star of the show. Now, credit where credit is due. I borrowed this one from Noah Kagans. If you don't know Noah, he owns sumo.com, AppSumo, prolific marketer, used to work at Facebook, worked at Mint, really sharp dude. He also owns this thing, which I think it's called KingSumo. And it's an app that actually helps you run contests. It's pretty slick. And I signed up for it. I never actually logged in and looked at it, I'm sad to say. But I heard him talking about it, I think, on a podcast. And all I had to do was hear it, and I was like, oh, man, that is genius. I realized it instantaneously. And in a word, what his app does is it allows multiple entries to the same contest if they jump through more hoops for you. Straight genius. What are the hoops? They get into your contest flow, they've just entered, and you hit them with subscribe to my email list for an additional entry. Go back to the post and share it for 1 additional entry. Go back to the post and tag up to 3 friends for 3 additional entries. Like my Facebook page for 1 additional entry. Follow me on Instagram for 1 additional entry. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for 1 additional entry. And I just ran this for the first time last week, and oh boy, does it work. It works so incredibly well, I couldn't believe it. You get them into the flow. You tell them they're entered and do whatever housekeeping you have to do. And then, oh, by the way, if you want to level up, get some additional entries, then click here. Now, first things first, sort what your biz goals are and what hoops you want to create for them to jump through. Next, I think the important part is to make sure to use a new flow for the hoops. And it's going to require me to go on a bit of a side rant. I see these flows being posted in the Manychat Facebook group all the time. And they are so gigantic. I mean, zoomed out, you would need to put the damn thing under a microscope to even see the individual steps, to see all of it. And by and large, I am super, super anti huge, complicated flows. The mantra is keep it simple and modular across the board in your bot building. Huge flows with all kinds of steps, this and that, here and there, recipe for failure in my estimation. You ever hear about how, like, the Chinese build huge buildings in like 2 weeks' time? They construct a building in a modular fashion in some warehouse, right? They truck all the parts in, and it's some sort of game of Legos at that point where they just bolt the whole thing, bolt this, bolt that, And then together they're left with a building that in the USA would like take 6 years to build, and the Chinese get it done in like 2 weeks time, right? You ever see one of those like time lapses on YouTube they do? It's pretty amazing. So I think that's a great way to think about bot building too. You know what happens when a bot breaks and you built in a modular fashion? So a bunch of small corresponding pieces and flows. It's really easy to bolt an individual Lego piece out, an individual flow out, and then bolt another one back in and get back to business. You have a flow with 57 different directions on it and 16 different levels, and you could barely even see it without zooming in and out. You're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. So that's the end of my side rant. Where was I in all that? Oh, separate modular flows in your contest. So do a separate one for the hoop flow. Why? Not just what I mentioned, but both for the previous side rant, as well as the fact that you want to be able to tag folks that have started it and tag folks that have finished it. And depending on how in the weeds you like to get, see which of the hoops they've jumped through. So you'll want to broadcast to them mid-contest and remind them that they can still get additional entries. It helps to know who to annoy and who to leave alone, right? Like if you had a super fan and they all finished, your 50 super fans finished and they did every single solitary step, then don't hammer them again, right? You want to know who to be able to hit, and especially who hasn't even gotten into the flow in the first place. And so that's fertile territory. So how well does this work? Oh man, does it work? Does it work? It's amazing. It takes what is amazing about running contests on Facebook and ratchets it up to a whole nother level. I just ran this for the first time. Same artist buddy I ran for the last one, as I said. And in addition to the messenger subs and the conversations, I think the thing dropped an additional 550 email subscribers, 250 Instagram followers, 200 YouTube subscribers, the post shares. I mean, it was glorious. Now, those are perhaps not the sexiest numbers in the world, but if you're an artist, it's pretty damn impressive. It's really impressive. So to think that there's just this additional level of ROI just waiting for you to build a flow and ask is insane. I mean, who am I kidding? Bots for the Win has like 15 YouTube subs. I need to run a contest for Pete's sake. I don't sell anything though, so I need to come up with something to give away. How about a free call from my mother? I can't get into my Gmail, something like that. Any takers? Yeah, more on that later. All right, that's number 2, the star of the show. Absolutely amazing. Now, number 3, love this one. Love this one as well. It's amazing. And this one blew me away too on the last contest I ran. Now, the good news is I'm going to tell you what number 3 is. The bad news is I'm going to make you jump through a hoop to get it. Why? I'm a marketer. I like to test things. So if you want the last piece of tradecraft, number 3, you got to get into my bot and you got to jump through a hoop. I'm not sure what the ask is yet, but it'll be a simple one. So to tie a bow on her, if you want number 3, pull out Messenger on your phone, search Bots for the Win, and get into my bot. This is episode 9. It will be in the podcast menu, an audio clip detailing it. And it's a good one too. You don't want to miss it. If you're thinking about running contests, you're going to need it. You're going to want it. Now, to close things up, I am acutely aware of what is called for here. These contests are insanely complicated. There are so many moving pieces. There are so many things to do. I realize I need to create the ultimate guide to running contests on Facebook with Messenger. I'm talking in-depth videos detailing every single solitary step. The thing would have to have at least 20 videos to cover all of the nuance in the tradecraft. So not only do I think that post would be, let's just call it incredibly helpful to everybody. I just know it will, including myself, because I forget. But also it would generate so much organic traffic for the podcast if I did it. So I really actually need to create it. My issue is, you ever watch Family Guy? The danger here is I don't want this ultimate guide to become like Brian's novel.
How you coming on that novel you're working on? Huh? Got a big stack of papers there? Got a nice little story you're working on there? A big novel you've been working on for 3 years? Huh? Got a compelling protagonist? Yeah? Got a obstacle for him to overcome? Huh? Little story brewing there? Working on that for quite some time, huh? Yeah, talking about that 3 years ago. Yeah, been working on that the whole time. Nice little narrative, beginning, middle, and end. Some friends become enemies, some enemies become friends. Yeah. At the end, your main character is richer for the experience. Yeah. You got to no. You deserve some time off.
Your main character is richer for the experience. I fucking love that clip. So good. So I don't want it to become the Brian's novel working on it for 3 years and talking about it. So when you are next in the bot, message me that you want me to make this behemoth this ultimate guide step by step, and I'll do it. And I figure, if at least of 5 out of my total 9 bot subscribers message me, I'll do it. I'll do it. So on that note, thanks for listening. And as always, have a great day.